Welcome to the Early Accountability Podcast hosted by Kimi Walker. Kimi has a track record of serving as a behavior change and improvement catalyst for individuals, groups, and organizations. Get ready to make the best version of yourself a priority. Now welcome, Kimi Walker.
Kimi Walker here, and welcome back to the next episode of the Early Accountability Podcast. I'm very excited today because I have a guest on my show. I have not had a guest on my show in quite some time, so I'm so happy to introduce my guest, Mark Cosby. Mark is definitely a person of many hats, so Mark is going to talk to us. He is a coach and an MC, and he's going to talk to us about mindset shifts and some of the things and services that he does and offer. So first off, Mark, hi, thank you for being on the show.
Hello, Kimi. Thank you for having me on the show. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Great. Thank you so much. So why don't you first just start off by telling the audience a little bit about you, about like your career, things that you've done, how you kind of got into coaching, and all the things that kind of led to where you are today.
All right, everyone. Just as Kimi said, I'm Mark Cosby. I currently live in Tampa, Florida. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I am a 10th of 10 kids. 5 girls, 5 boys. Growing up, we often call us, growing up in St. Louis, they often call us the Black Brady Bunch. So that was always cool. You know, I grew up with both mom and dad in the house, brothers and sisters. So it was pretty cool. And didn't really get bullied that much growing up. I didn't really understand why I didn't get bullied at the time when I was younger. But as I got older and then the bigger kids started moving away, then I had to experience a little bit of bullying. But by that time, I was more than capable of taking care of myself. So, and to this day, man, one of the bullies' best friends. It's funny how that works, right?
Yes.
So, you know, I love St. Louis. Great city at the time. I was getting kind of rough now, but I love St. Louis joining the military, right? I wanted to go in the Army because I wanted to be an Army Ranger, right? Special forces and all that. Army recruiter never came by, so I said, okay, let's try the Navy. Picked up the phone, called the Navy recruiter. Boom, he was at the door in 15 minutes. This is before cell phones now. I was like, how do you get it so fast, right? So from that point on, lived and joined the Navy, got into what's called the Hospital Corps. And I didn't realize at the time, but it's like one of the most storied and decorated military branches in any military because of the amount of complex that they were partaking in with the Marine Corps. Because if you don't know what the Hospital Corps is for the audience, we're the Marine Corps' emergency services, pretty much the Navy's emergency services too. So with that training, I became Hospital Corpsman. I was a combat medic and a trauma surgical tech. That was great. That decision to join that led me to live overseas, 3 years in Italy, 3 years in Japan. I have the honor of the family living on 2 separate continents. Thought that was pretty cool as well. Got so much training in the medical field. When I got out of the Navy, before I got out of the Navy, I became an instructor, right? So I was a surgical tech instructor teaching other Navy members coming in to be surgical techs. So I thought that was cool as well. So I said, hey, I'm going to keep doing this when I get out. So when I got out, I also carried on becoming a surgical instructor with one of the local universities down in Tampa, Everest University. It was one of the national universities. I think they're out of business now. Something happened, but they're out of business. Luckily, I wasn't caught up on all that drama. So basically, with that skill set, I can be employed anywhere they speak English or anywhere in the world for that matter. Really don't need to speak English if you follow procedures, follow surgery, know what you're doing. Then that led me to become a motivational speaker, professional speaker, because I joined Toastmasters. I was like, I was thinking of one night I was at this university. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm teaching these people. I can be a speaker, right? So I joined Toastmasters. Boom, got that designation, company communicator designation, got an award for that. And then after that, I said, there's got to be something more. Because I thought Toastmasters was going to get, okay, I'm flying all over the place, speaking to people, getting paid tons of money. Toastmasters is not it. Toastmasters get you set up and get you ready for how to manage the clock, how to manage things, right? So then I joined the National Speakers Association. And that's where I'm today now with the speaking, MCing, business coaching now that's coming online, course creation and all that stuff. So it's been a very, very exciting ride, journey, and I'm just getting started.
So talk to us a little bit. So you have a book, 25 Keys to a Positive Mindset,
Yes.
Navigate the Negative Minefields of Life.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write your book?
Boy, that was great. That's a great question, too. So what inspired me to write that book is I had an older brother. His name is Kim. I actually had 4 older brothers. Kim, he was the second oldest. But yeah, so it's Kim, Junior, Joe, Kim, Buzzy, and myself. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Kim was the 3rd oldest. Kim used to come over. He was an Army veteran, too, by the way. He used to come over. He would always have a new car every year saying, oh, like, this guy's. So he would come over. That's the first time I drive. So he's like, let me drive. And all while I'm driving, learn how to drive. And he's in my ear talking about, yeah, you smart, man. We got the name already. The only thing you got to do is just apply yourself and become this. You can write a book. You can become a lawyer. You can become a doctor. And he's telling me all this stuff. I mean, every single time he came over, we go driving around, he would be in my ear. And I was like, okay, well, obviously I was smart to become a doctor, right? So I said, okay, let me go ahead and write this book. So I wrote the book, 25 Keys to Positive Mindset, which is written at the height of the pandemic. So the book is 4 years old now. I was like, wow, I'm just thinking about that a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, man, it's 4 years old. And then I live in to believe too, see, life is all about mindset, all about resetting, all about, like you said, at the top, pivoting and refocusing yourself, rebranding yourself, rededicating yourself, whatever you got to do to get there. So I'm thinking like, okay, the book came before all of this other stuff. And now I'm starting to see on the back end how the book is becoming more and more of a focus. And it's like, man, this is crazy. Because the book was written way before I joined the National Speakers Association. And like I said, 4 years removed, the book was done. And like I said, written during the height of the pandemic. And I think everybody was scared. I mean, I'm a grown man, fully capable of protecting myself, but you can't control something you can't control. And so I was a little scared in 2020 when COVID hit. And then Kobe Bryant dies too on top of that. It's like, man, we lose this icon. And then we got to deal with this nasty virus that people think is fake. That's still, I'm like, man, I know I'm getting off subject, but that still blows me away. But anyway, yeah, so that's why the book is here now, because of my brother, Kim Cosby. He was so young. He passed away at 37. So he was only in our lives for that short amount of time. But let me tell you, the impact he made on our family, his sons, they still call me and be like, man, you're the closest thing I have to my dad. All the other uncles don't act nothing like my dad. You're just like my dad. And they cling to me. And I love it because I feel so bad because when the dad died, I was stationed in Italy. Came home one Memorial Day. He was going through a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I'm thinking, like, okay, well, I'm here to see him, right? And I come back. I come back probably 6 months later, some months later, for the funeral. I start, preparing myself because in the medical field, you prepare yourself because you're around it every day. I mean, I've had so many people that I've operated on with the doctors that passed on. So many, it's just crazy. But he died actually that Memorial Day weekend. I was in country. I was like, golly. So that was a real, real tough blow. But before he left us, though, he left us with, definitely me. He was pouring into me so much. It was incredible. And everything I do, even when I'm stuck on something, I say, Kim, give me a sign or give me a route to go to solve things. And sure enough, the next couple of days, an answer just pops up. It's like, wow, where did that come from? And then as I think back, like, man, okay, my guides, my guardian angels, God, Kim, everybody heard me and helped me out through this process. So, yeah.
So I'm definitely sorry to hear about the passing of your brother. And it sounds like you've been able to navigate that and to even helping your nephews kind of push forward.
Yep.
What are some kind of signs or flags if for someone to kind of notice or be aware that they may be stuck in or have a negative mindset about something?
Always complaining about stuff. That's another great question. I love your questions. Yeah. So, and that's the beauty of but not reading the questions beforehand because I want to keep it authentic and as real as possible. But, always complaining about stuff, always blaming other people, not being proactive, being reactive. When something happens, then, let me get on this now. Like, for example, someone get the lights turned off, then, I better act on it now and get this taken care of. No, but they've seen the bill a month before, right? So you have to plan accordingly. And then your podcast is named perfect. It's all about accountability. Once you take accountability of yourself first and stop blaming people and stop saying it's their fault, it's their fault. People got to get the reminder that no one can stop you from doing what you do. No one can stop you because everything is destined. I believe everything is predestined, right? We all have a destiny. No one can stop you from getting that job. No one can stop you from starting a business. The only person that can stop you is yourself. And it's one of the things. But yeah, like I said, negative mindset, always complaining, not satisfied with things, see the bad of everything. Somebody stop and bring them dinner. I didn't want this. It's like, man, just be thankful about your dinner. So stuff like that. It's such a norm now. It's like it's the normal operating system, and it's not. They think, some people love that negative aspect of life. I don't.
So if someone is listening and they say, okay, yeah, it sounds like maybe I do have a negative mindset about this or that. What are your recommendations? How do you pivot? What are some of the first things that people should do to try to pivot themselves into a more positive mindset?
Easy. First thing is, and one of the things I do in my workshops and my breakouts is we go through a process right there in the room about how to spot and how to deal with it. All right. So here it goes. I'm going to give it to your podcast, listeners and viewers here first. So here's the thing. We know we can't stop thoughts from happening, correct? But we can know when the thought is coming in, we know if it's negative or positive. So when that negative thought comes in, allow it to come in because you can't stop it. Process that thought, right? It's like, man, this is a negative thought or this is a positive thought. If it's a negative thought, you remember the old diagram charts you said to deal with, you have open door, find key, no key, okay, go back to B, go locate key, okay, get key, now go back open door. Remember that? So this is pretty much what it is. Okay, if the thought comes in, if it's negative, all right, the thought comes in, it's positive. Okay, if it's positive, yeah, I'm having a good day. I'm feeling good. If it's negative, process it. It's negative right away. So right away, acknowledging is the first step in combating negative mindset because you're aware, you're present of it. When that thought comes in, process it. Okay, he's like, okay, how can I get rid of this thought? I want you to take that thought in your mind's eye, crumple it down to a small piece of paper, right? Small as you can, hold it in the palm of your hand, and take a deep breath in, blow it. And as you blow, just imagine that problem and that negative thought just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where you can't see it and it disappears.
We brought up something really good I actually wanted to expand on and get your opinion on. So I know sometimes people, myself included, if there may be something like negative going on or something bad going on in your life, sometimes we can, even as high achievers, overdo and kind of avoid the feelings by becoming a workaholic or getting some kind of other goal that kind of just digs you into that where you're not actually maybe being aware or even allowing yourself to feel, if that makes any sense. So it's like, okay, I'm super busy now. I'm doing all these clothes for my kids. I'm going to pick up my extra activities. And you're basically like on go from the time your day starts until you like go down for the night, right? You never really give yourself like that open free time to think or be mindful. What would you say are some signs that people may not be dealing with or allowing themselves to even feel the negative emotions?
Okay, that's a good point too. I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm gonna go back to Kim's when Kim passed. When I got back to Italy, I was like, okay, that the exact same thing you said. I just like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this. I'm tough. I'm a guy. I can deal with this. I don't need counseling or therapy. So I was working out crazy. At the time, I was actually trying to get myself in shape to get ready to go try for Navy SEALs, right? I was running, swimming, in the gym. All free time I had was in the gym or in the water, working out, getting ready to go do that, right? And I just totally just absorbed in that, right? And working in the OR, learning all thing I can about the OR, new instruments, new procedures, new techniques. Because if you know anything about that, dealing with someone who's worked in the operating room, in the medical field, surgical perhaps, you're constantly learning because there's new instruments coming out. You got to learn how to, some of the instruments, you got to learn how to troubleshoot the instruments. This is all done while you're doing surgery. So I'll just absorb myself in that. And then when my sister died, I had a sister that passed when she was in a car accident. She hit an 18 motor head on. And she was the reason why I joined the military to go into the medical field, because she was an OR nurse. Same thing I did, surgical nurse, right? When she was a nurse, I was a nurse. So it's only after when she died, all those repressed emotions and feelings and negative energy from when Kim died came to the surface. And that's dangerous. So I tell everybody now, I said, I don't care who you are, how tough you are. Someone in your family is supposed to be passes on, go seek counseling and get therapy right away. You don't necessarily have to take the medication that they're going to offer you. They're going to offer you medication because depression is real, let me tell you. But just go talk to somebody. That even just talking to somebody helps out. You know what I mean? If it gets to the point where you need medication, then do it. But I'm not a big theory prescriber of taking medications on this stuff, not pharmaceutical stuff. Anyway, I'm all about the holistic and the natural stuff we have all around us, outside in our yards and around us. You know what I mean? Nature, because that's where all the pharmaceutical stuff is derived from. Anyway, they just put that chemical additive, that chemical key to it, and makes it what it is. Pharmaceutical grade or whatever. Yeah. So I would tell anyone right away from going forward is go talk to someone, counselor or therapist. It's worth it. It's an investment. It's not a bill. It's an investment. It's an investment in your mental health, because nowadays your health, be it physical, mentally, emotionally, is your new wealth. Health is a new wealth, because one bad diagnosis can wipe out everything you worked so hard for. And that's why I'm a big proponent of prevention too. That's why you try to eat. I'm like, we can talk about this all day, but again, I got sidetracked again. But yeah, that's it. Seek counseling and therapy right away. Yeah.
Okay. So, Mark, why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about the services you offer and where they can find you to learn more about you or dig deeper into that?
Okay, all right, audience members of the Accountability Podcast here. I'm not hard to find, like Coach Deion Sanders says. I'm not hard to find. I'm on all socials, LinkedIn, IG, Facebook. I'm all over those. I even got an X account or whatever it is nowadays, whatever it's going to be called. Who knows what it's going to be called next week? So I'm even on that. I'm not as active as that, but I did just set up recently auto post. And when I post something on IG or Facebook, it goes over to X. So, just have a presence, you know what I mean? And I'm on YouTube as well, but not as active as I should be. So what I offer is, the main thing is life coaching, right? Life coaching in my aspect is, I tell people all the time, I say I'm a lot more portable than a therapist. I'm a lot more portable than a doctor, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist. And I said, I'm not going to try to push drugs on you, right? I'm not going to try to sell you these drugs. Life coaching for me, the reason why I think it works and it helps a lot of people out, because it's not that big stigma associated with, like, I'm going to talk to this doctor. She graduated or he graduated from Harvard, this and another. That's the stigma's not there, that this person is not really feeling you and you're not just a number, which in actuality you are when you go to any doctor's office, you're just a number, right? But the life coaching, it brings a certified life coach. It brings that level of, hey, we're here. I used to be in a situation where I used to be depressed. I used to be all those things, but I found a way out. And let me show you how through life coaching. That's one thing I offer. There with business coaching, that's just getting started pretty much. But with business coaching, I just talk to sweet level people like the CFOs, CIOs, and all those people about how they can optimize their staff and their company to take to the next level. And that's by doing a mindset reset. That's my whole spiel when I present, is a mindset reset. Think about this, Kimmy. Just about everything around you has a reset button, right?
Right.
Your router for the computer, the very computer we're talking on, the router has a reset button. Our phones have reset buttons, our printers, everything has a reset button. But what doesn't have a reset button? This one here. This doesn't. So we have to figure that out on our own, right? We got to figure out how to keep a positive mindset. We got to figure out how to keep someone else happy. We got to figure out how to keep your kids happy. We got to figure out how to keep the boss. So you got to constantly do resets, mindset resets throughout the day. It's not just once or twice. No, you got to constantly reset. And that's what I'm talking about. And because when you reset, you do a mindset reset, it opens up for more collaboration, better business dealings, better customer service. And when the CFOs hear that, they perk up in their chair, better, because all those mean more numbers, and that means more revenue. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much it. And another thing I do in my breakouts is I do guided meditation. Okay. And that's another thing people really, really should consider, is that quiet time. Like some mornings I'll get up here at about 5:30, 6 o'clock to work on stuff, so I won't be disturbed by the dogs and nobody, right? Because staying up late, kind of like, yeah, that's when you need to be, your body needs to be repairing itself. So people don't, I burn the midnight oil. You're burning more than midnight oil. You're burning your cells, you're killing yourself. So you got to get that quality sleep too. That quality sleep is important. And that meditation and quiet time and prayer, all that stuff is just going to benefit you, because the more you can go within, the more you're going to find answers. The answers are not outside. I have one of my favorite sayings. You asked about a saying. I have two, actually. One of them is I knocked on the door seeking knowledge, but the door opened from within. Mm. Yeah. See, everybody's looking out there for everything is put aside of us already. We already down.
True.
Everything's already downloaded. Our program is downloaded. Everything's done. Like I tell people, I ask audience members, who in here has a grandfather that's was a big time lawyer, judge, or whatever, and the hands go up. Like I said, do you know by virtue of DNA, you have all that same intelligence that your grandfather had to be a lawyer, or judge, or whatever? Man, if you want to you can hit a mouse in the floor. It's like that some people just have been so programmed, and this right here is not help. This doesn't help. This does not help at all. I'm sorry, the cell phone is the greatest thing ever made, but boy, I tell you what, it is the wolf, man. People are in that thing. That's the reality, and it's a whole, man, we can talk forever.
Well, Mark, yes, absolutely. So I want to tell the audience, you do have your book, 25 Keys to a Positive Mindset. Where can people buy this at?
They can buy it on Amazon. I think I also provided you with a QR code. If not, I think I got the QR code. Okay. You can do the QR code on Amazon. They can reach out to me and purchase the book, and I can send them a signed copy. That's the only thing I like about Amazon, and the QR code is I can't sign the book. So now when we meet, I'm going to have to sign your book.
Okay.
That's what I signed yours. Somebody else ordered the book. And because I got matter of fact, the same day you sent me a text message and it arrived, A day later, another text message came in. It's like, he said it arrived. I'm like, what arrived? And there's a couple of, I'm like, oh my God, the book. So when I meet up with him they live in Miami. So when we go down there, we go sign his book. Or they come up here quite frequently too, because he's a realtor. And he and both of them realtors, right? They do commercial, residential. Mm-hmm. And so they up here quite frequently. So I'm going to tell him next time he's going to bring his book so I can sign it. So, but I think that's always so cool. And that's what I tell people too. You have enough information in you to write your first book. Just write the book. Just write it. You don't have to hire all these people like to help you get it started. Just start writing. That's what people should be journaling every day. They should be journaling. I keep stuff on the side of the bed. So I wake up, my dreams, I try to remember it as best I can and scribble it down. That's the starter right there, your life experiences. I mean, if you've been anywhere in this country, you can write a book about travel overseas. People just don't think that they can do it. It's like, I'm going to tell you, you can do it. It's easy.
That's true. Well, if the audience wants to find out more, I'll definitely get the link or the QR code in the show notes to your book. Mm-hmm. But also people can find you on the web at markprocosby.com. Yep. So also there on markpro.cosby.com, that is Mark's website, and Mark spelled M-A-R-K, but it also links to all the social media. So it links your Facebook, your Instagram, like you said, X or Twitter, and LinkedIn. Mark, first off, I just want to let the audience know that stay tuned because the show is kind of expanding and changing. So we'll also be having a more in-depth interview with Mark that will be on YouTube. But in the meantime, yes, definitely check out markprocosby.com. And Mark, I just want to thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me. Again, it was an honor and a pleasure, Kimi. Great talking to you. Have a great weekend.
You too. And thank you all to the audience. Thank you for tuning into the Early Accountability Podcast. Until next time.
It was a pleasure to have you join us on this episode of the Early Accountability Podcast with Kimi Walker. Be sure to visit earlyaccountability.com to sign up for the Early Accountability newsletter. We look forward to activating your greatness and helping you reach your goals.